Next on the Food Nanny, we're sailing the Mediterranean. Spending time with your family takes on a whole new meaning when you're cruising along the European coastline. Today, we'll learn to cook a wonderful shrimp risotto, a delightful lobster skewer, and the best creme brulee I've had in years. Join us as we participate in all the fun onboard activities and eat some of the most exquisite foods from around the world. I'm Liz Edmonds. I'm the Food Nanny. As I raised 7 children, I learned that dinner time is the most important part of the day. It's the most natural setting to share the best of everyday life together. And when it works, it's La Vita Vera, the true life. But I know it's not easy. That's why I've made it my mission to help you rescue dinner time. And I'll travel the world to help families like yours find La Vita Vera and have the best of everyday life together. Cruising is all about family, fun, and food. This Royal Caribbean ship is embarking on a journey across the Mediterranean Sea, filled with families from around the world sharing an experience they will never forget. Sailing the high seas has never been so action-packed. From roller skating to ice skating, from rock climbing to miniature golf. And when you are worn down, tired, and hungry, the most delicious assortments of food await you inside. With 3 exceptional meals prepared daily and an endless supply of snacks, you are guaranteed to have an unparalleled culinary experience. When the Food Nanny returns, we find out the best way to stay entertained while at sea. And we step into the kitchen and see what it's like to cook dinner for 3,500 passengers every night. How many meals a day?
Between 15 to 17,000 meals.
Welcome back to the Food Nanny. Today we're on an adventure across the Mediterranean Sea. With so much to do and so much to eat, we first need to meet with the man in charge, the ship's cruise director. Warren?
Hi, Liz.
How you doing? Nice seeing you again.
Yeah, good to see you. How's everything?
Oh, great.
Good.
How about you?
Fantastic.
I can't imagine being in charge of 3,000 people.
I'm in charge of the entertainment and the kids program, which is the Adventure Ocean program. And that takes care of the kids 3 to 11 years of age. And then, of course, teens, which is the most difficult because trying to keep teenagers interested and busy on a ship, they don't really like to be wherever the adults are. They prefer to have their own area and to gather in their own groups and discover what life is all about amongst themselves. The greatest feedback we get from the families, and especially the kids, is that they met somebody from another country. And some of these kids don't even speak the same language, but they are able to work through those languages and hang out with each other.
Okay, now that's a great thing.
It's absolutely awesome.
With so many activities for everyone right here on the ship, I wonder if there is even any time left over for families to eat dinner together. I'm all about dinner.
Okay.
That's what I do. I'm trying to bring families back to the dinner hour.
Well, we have that same problem here on a ship. And so what we try to do is to organize, first of all, the events and the activities around the dinner. And then the dinner itself becomes very much entertainment, because the kids will tell you what they learned today if you ask them.
Exactly.
And so what we try to do is, for instance, the Adventure Ocean program, we give them something that they can take to the table to show everybody else.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And whether that's the pirate parade, which we parade them around the ship, to something that they made. And we show them how to do little tricks that they can show at the table. That usually creates more fun and a reason to be there.
But they're sitting together all as a family. And that's what you see around this cruise ship.
It's because it becomes a social event. And that's what we have here, is everything we do is a social event. And personally, I think that's part of the fun of having a full dinner with your friends and family around, is the interaction. But you always have to have a starting point, which is talking about something that is fun.
Thanks for your efforts.
Thanks. I hope to see you back again soon.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you later.
Okay. Now that we know all about the activities on board, let's go see how a ship filled with 3,500 passengers is able to serve some of the most delicious food you have ever tasted.
I'm the food and beverage director, so I'm responsible for all the service, all the food on board. We have special programs for kids, we have a special program for adults. The whole concept is built actually on families. Sit down, have a nice meal, talk about things, what happened. Food is always something that brings people together.
Chef David Raihana is from New Zealand and is one of the top chefs in the world. He is responsible for the many dishes that are served daily. How many meals a day?
Between 15 to 17,000 meals. We use about 4,000 pounds of whole chickens, 3,000 pounds of beef, 650 gallons of milk, and 2,000 dozen eggs a cruise. And that's just on average.
Well, let's get started. What are we going to do today?
Well, today you're going to help me actually make a nice little simple shrimp risotto. Obviously, with us being on an Italian cruise, we have a lot of good Italian food. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is, since you're going to help me, I want to get you to cut me an onion,
All
okay?
right.
Well, the recipes, we try to make sure that the food is a different selection. We have theme nights, like tonight, for example, is Venetian. So being in Italy, we want to make sure we give them a nice Italian product. And these are foods that they're going to get on board that they will possibly never get anywhere else. In goes the onions. The pan is already hot. Then we're going to put in our risotto.
Chef David is using a par-cooked arborio rice, which is perfect for risotto.
Got the nice saffron in there. We do need to make sure we've got a little bit of fish stock. And that's just going to lift off the bottom there.
Your fish stock is from scratch, right?
From scratch,
You
yes.
don't use that out of a box or
Never,
anything?
never. We don't have anything here like that on board the ship. We make sure that we use only the freshest ingredients. We don't use any powdered bases from a tin. Everything is made fresh. All of our stocks, chicken stocks, fish stocks, beef stocks, everything is made from fresh, all from bones. That's very important. And that way, we can get a nice, natural flavor. I've got everything that I need. It's the glazing in the pan. The color is changing now. And then what we're doing is we're going to finish it off with a little bit of mascarpone.
Is that the trick, the mascarpone cheese?
Absolutely. Right now, I'm just adding some Parmesan cheese. I've already added a little salt and pepper. Just add a little bit more stock. And what I'm going to get you to do is cook, while that's cooking, you're going to cook the shrimp for me.
Okay.
We have some nice fresh shrimp. Now we put a little bit of olive oil on there.
Okay.
Give it a nice little mix.
Just put it right on.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay. The risotto is almost ready. We just finish it off with a little bit of chopped parsley. Or in this case, you can use a little bit of chopped basil if you want to, or oregano at the moment.
It's so fun to cook with all of these ingredients.
Could you imagine doing this for 17,000 meals a day?
I can. So I think these are done.
Okay. What I also have here is a nice little sun-dried tomato sauce. Okay, so now what we can do is, here's your beautiful shrimps that you made for me.
Okay.
And don't forget, you've got your nice chopped onions in here.
Yes.
So now we can go ahead and actually plate it because we have everything we need. Okay, so we come in here like this. Here's a nice little appetizer. This is what we serve as an appetizer.
I was going to say, is this a main dish? But it can be a main dish.
It can be a main dish if you want to make 6 shrimp and double the amount of the risotto if you want to use that.
Okay.
And then here's your beautiful shrimp that you've made for me. So this will go on here. Remember, again, this is just an appetizer, so in goes the shrimps like this. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to add a little bit of my sauce here, which is a sun-dried tomato. And we're just going to run a little bit around the outside.
Oh.
Just to enhance the taste. Then we put on the top, which is nicely fried, nice and crispy. Onion on top.
So freshly done, too. Oh,
And that's it.
That is gorgeous.
Thank you. That's something you could make for your family as well, actually, because you can make the risotto in volume.
I had no idea that you could do risotto that fast.
Well, if you have everything there already done, the risotto is already pre-cooked if you like, you can make that dish in less than 10 minutes. There's a lot of food here that, even though it might sound difficult for them to make, you can actually cook it at home. And we've had a lot of people ask me, how do you make these dishes? Can we get recipes? And of course, we have our ship's cookbooks as well. So we try to encourage them to try everything that we have on board. Now we're going to make a really simple dish. And people think it looks quite difficult, but it's not. We're going to make a nice lobster skewer. Yeah, very simple. All the nice fresh seafood here. So I'm going to give you some gloves because I'm going to ask you to do me a favor, and we're going to marinate the seafood, and you're going to put it on the skewer for me.
Okay.
So what I have here for you is the ingredients for the skewer.
All right.
But before we even start to skewer it, we need to marinate it.
All right.
Put a little bit of garlic on here. A little bit of onion,
Okay.
really finely diced. I like a little bit of freshly diced basil. Look at that, beautiful.
Wow.
And then we're just going to add a little bit of olive oil. So if you can go ahead for me and just mix that all up.
Okay.
Thank you. And this is another very simple dish, quite doesn't take long to cook on the grill, or you can do it in a pan if you like. And look at the skewer. I bet you haven't seen a skewer like that
No,
before.
never.
So if you can, just go ahead and skewer that. That would be fantastic. How easy is that? This is something you could do with your kids.
Absolutely.
You know, you don't have to get your hands dirty. You can get them involved in making it.
Yeah. And,
You know, because
and
this is something that kids would love to do.
if you could get your kids to eat all this fish, that
There you
would be
go,
the
so-
only problem. You
Yeah,
know?
well, it doesn't even have to be just fish.
Right.
It could be chicken, it could be beef, you could have little vegetables in between. Just giving them the excitement of actually making something on a skewer alone is enough to get them involved with
Yeah,
it.
I love that. So
Up to
I'm
you.
going to cook this, huh?
Yeah, you're just going to put it on the grill.
Okay.
Look at that. Beautiful. So what we want to just make sure is we put a little bit of salt and pepper on there. So we want to season it. Well, you can also put peppers or zucchini in between.
If you were home, would you do this on your barbecue?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'd also do it with beef or chicken.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't take long.
No.
It's very quick to cook, and that's the beauty of it. But of course, here you probably won't have one of these skewers, but you can
No.
use a little wooden skewers
Right,
as well.
right. That's what I have at home.
Yeah. Okay, so what we have here is obviously this is your nice filled kebab that you happily did for me. Thank you so much.
Oh.
And I'm going to bring it over. It's now cooked exactly where we want it, still moist.
And
And
it
then
smells so
look at
good.
this.
Oh my goodness. Oh, look at
Doesn't
that.
that look good? That's how we serve that.
Wow.
If you want to cook this at home, it's something that can be cooked very quickly. It's something you can get someone to help you with just to do the skewers, but you can cook it in no time at all.
Yeah.
Straight from the grill, straight to the plate. On the bottom here, we've just got a couple of selection of our small vegetables. You can use any vegetables.
Sure.
Whatever you might have at home.
On the ship, when somebody orders that, that's how it's delivered.
You know, when you take that out to the guests, they really love it. And then the waiter will just take the skewer off, and then they'll take the seafood off the skewer for the
okay.
guest, and then they get it nicely, freshly cooked. Very simple.
It's very, very impressive.
Thank you.
When the Food Nanny returns, we get out into the sun and try out some of these fun activities for ourselves. Then we get back into the kitchen and whip up the most delightful dessert, just in time for our formal dinner with the captain. Welcome back to the Food Nanny. The Mediterranean Sea has mesmerized us with its beauty as we cruise along Europe's most exquisite coastline on one of Royal Caribbean's finest ships. With no shortage of entertainment and fantastic foods, we continue to soak up everything this cruise has to offer.
Lots of fours and fives up there. More fours and fives, lots of fives.
Let's head back inside for a sneak peek on how this ship prepares food for its 3,500 passengers every day.
We have 3,500 guests on board here, and then as well 1,400 crew members who are having basically 3 to 4 times a meal a day. The whole logistic behind the scene is fantastic.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you around these certain areas and show you some of the actual kitchen departments within this main galley. This is where we cook all of our vegetables and our pastas. If you have a look at this, we have a lot of pasta. Obviously, we're in Italy, so we need to make sure with a lot of our Italian guests, believe it or not, they like to have pasta with their appetizers or with their main courses, additional to what they normally order. So we have a lot of pastas that we go in volume through here
I love
during the dinner
pasta.
service. If we were back in America, it would be mostly 95% to 90% American. But over here in Europe, we have a different demographics of guests. Here we'll have a high count of Italians, a lot of English. English are also very popular here, and Canadians. So we need to have a balance of the food all in between.
This looks like vegetable soup.
This is our soup, one of our soups for tonight, yes. I mean, it's nice to come out to the ship and to have all these different types of different foods from different regions and flavors and with all the fantastic ingredients that we get on board. But we also need to give them something that they're used to having at home.
So tell me, what is your favorite dessert?
That's a very good question, actually, and I've thought about that one, and I think that it's not, well, I mean, I've had many good fine dining desserts and many very sweets, but I like my dessert that my mother used to make for me when I was young, which was always a very simple, basic bread and butter pudding.
I love bread and
Which
butter.
she used to make, because there was 5 of us, so she used to get loads of bread, and then it was stale. She would never waste anything in the kitchen, so Mum would always take that and use it for something else. So she would always make bread and butter pudding out of the leftover. You know, as you grow up when you're young, you remember these dishes. And a lot of people ask me today, well, what's your favourite dessert? You must like, you know, the very fancy little fusion-style puddings and desserts. And I say, no, I like the real basic puddings. I like rice pudding, I like bread and butter pudding. And it's just a memory that I have of that comfort food when we were sitting at our table together as a family and we were sitting there enjoying it. And then Mum would come out with the bread and butter pudding. And for us, it was like Christmas Day. I still love it to this very day. We actually serve a bread and butter pudding up in the Windjammer in the evenings.
Really?
And the English love it.
Every night?
Yeah, every night I put a special one in there, chocolate bread and butter pudding or regular bread and butter pudding. That's something that I introduced because I liked it so much. And the feedback I get is it just brings back old memories from when everybody seemed to be young. It's an old, proven, traditional pudding. And when it's done well, it's fantastic. And it's just good that I can give all these other guests that feeling of bringing back memories from when they were young.
You need to have some dishes on the menus, what people really know from old days. You know, there's especially soups and or pasta, for example. You have some nice pasta dishes, classical dishes, basically, because comfort food is classical dishes.
Speaking of dessert, Chef David and I get back into the kitchen to whip up something the entire ship will enjoy for tonight's dinner.
Anybody can make this dessert. It's not that difficult to make. You have the ingredients at home, and all it is that we have here is egg yolks, cream, milk, and some sugar, and a little bit of vanilla essence. This here is a creme brulee, but all we need to do is just mix it all together. It's that easy. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take a little bit of egg yolk.
And I think it's one of the most popular desserts in the world.
It's one of the most popular. It's very traditional dessert as well. We're going to add a little bit of sugar. Okay, so now we're going to beat this, and what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to beat this until it's white. Then we'll add a little bit of cream. We have a little bit of vanilla essence, just to give it that little bit of vanilla taste at the end. And then we're going to beat that off. It's basically a custard. But then what we're going to do is you can see the nice colour there already, changing the colour. That's it. That's how simple it is. And then we just need to bake it. So after we've made our nice mix, as we have here, we have it right here. Then you're going to put it into your nice little dish here, which is a ramekin. You can buy them in any shop. You can get them the big edges and the small ones, but we'll use this one here.
You use the
You can see the mix is nice and thick now. And it's like a custard, and then what we're going to do is we're going to bake it in the oven. But we're going to bake it in what we call a water bath, and that's just a little bath of water, which I have already in the oven. It's preset to 150 Fahrenheit, and we'll just put that in the water in there, and then it'll go in the oven. You can do 3 or 4 of those. You can make 10 if you want to. And then you just put it in there.
And that's so the bottom doesn't get crispy at all.
Absolutely. And then we just leave it in there for 150, and we leave it there for 30 minutes. So now we've been 30 minutes. We're going to take a look. It's hot. Be careful when you take them out.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And it's already set.
It's perfect.
And what we want to do now is we just want to put a little bit of brown sugar on there. Make sure when you take it out of the oven, you cool it in the fridge.
Okay. For
Or you
how
can
long?
leave it
How long?
For at least a half an hour. Or if you want to, you can leave it on the bench to let it cool down so it sets. And then we're going to put a little bit of brown sugar that I have, and I'm just going to sprinkle the crystals on top of the brulee.
Okay.
Look at that. And we just want to put a nice, even, thin coat, not too big,
Okay.
and spread it out nice and even like that. And now there's 2 ways you can do this. If you have a little gas burner, which I doubt nobody will have at home, or you can put it under your grill or under your salamander with the top part of the grill
The
on.
broiler.
Yeah, and you can just put it on there, heat it up, leave it on for 10 minutes so it's nice and hot, get the sugar underneath, and then you can just sit it under there until it crystallizes.
Chef David has shown me so much in the kitchen today. I can't wait to try these recipes at home with my family. But before we get ready for our formal dinner, Chef David gathers his team for a taste test of all the food that will be served tonight.
This is how we get our consistency from the food. So here we have our recipe cards. Presentation must look the same. And then we must go through the ingredients to taste it to see that it is what it is on the recipe card. Maybe it needs some more garnish. Maybe it needs to be cold, the soup cold, or this chiller. We can do all these kind of changes now before it's too late. The guests tell me what they do and don't like. And I need to understand that because not everybody is going to like what you do. So you want to make sure to pinpoint the things that they do like and what they don't like, and then try and help them along to what they don't like so that we can give a better culinary experience to the guests.
Oh, I love that.
You gonna have that
So far, I'm getting all of these tonight.
We're just having a taste. Yeah?
I know.
The good thing is the guest comes here for 7 days and they get to have a vast experience of flavors eating together, as well as eating all the different local products we do get on board. The nice fruit and vegetables they get here, you won't get that back in America. So they get a lot of different food profiles. This is my favorite though, the lamb shank. This is what all the men seem to love to enjoy. And this has been marinated over 2 days and then braised. Beautiful mashed potato. And then we got a lovely roasted vegetables. Try that.
Oh, wow. Oh.
We'll serve 600 to 700 of this dish tonight.
Oh, my gosh.
In the evening, we have the casual dining buffet style. We'll have an English line that's got some certain English food on there, like mashed peas, pot pie, you know, things that they're used to, and a lot of the little comfort condiment foods we'll have especially for them. And on another line, we'll have the Italian food line. We will have the risottos. We'll have things like that there for them, and the pastas and the many different pasta sauces. We come down into my favorite part, which is the desserts.
Mine too.
Here we have a low-fat angel fruit cake, which is very light.
It looks so
it's
good.
all egg white.
Looks so good.
And then we have a beautiful panna cotta, raspberry. Look at the nice colour. Still
Beautiful.
firm, bit shaky there. It's not, you can tell when it's got too much gelatin or not enough.
My goodness,
Here you go.
I've got to decide which one I'm going to get tonight, right?
Absolutely. The food nanny, she's very funny, and she's very passionate about her food. And I can see the way that she looks at the food and the experiences, and she likes to try all the different dishes and all the different regional foods, to not only for her to enjoy the foods, but also to experience the different flavors as well as the areas that she's in. So I think she's a fantastic lady. Thank you very much. Let's get ready for service. Thank you.
Wow,
That's it.
amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
This dining room is a typical classical dining room in the cruise industry or in general for Royal Caribbean. We have on 3 floors, we have a space for 1,800 guests per sitting. We have 2 sittings in the evening. We have 300 people working in here for waiters. Behind the scene, we have 140 chefs putting together the menus and the food, etc. And it's just amazing to come in, you sit down, there's individual waiters just for your table, and they really do take good care of you so that you have a wonderful experience.
When you come into the dining rooms down here, especially on the main deck, we have to have a nice ambience. We have the pianist, the violinist. This all adds to the experience.
You can never be too busy to sit down to have a real nice dinner with your family. It doesn't matter what it is. We turn off the phones. That's the time we really say, it's time now to sit down, enjoy for a half an hour, a nice meal, and then life goes on again.
The people today, they're so busy with their work commitments that they don't think of food as much as they used to think of food. And they really need to go back to the basics because, I mean, that's where the family begins. Everything that we do in food has always been related with the family. But that's where you first eat. When you get together, you work together, you make the meal together, perhaps you sit down together. And that's where the family base always begins. I mean, food is the balance. If we didn't have food, then we wouldn't get to see each other as often as we do. So it's important that everybody gets the opportunity to sit down and eat with the family, that we make sure that we don't break tradition, because that's the only time we get to enjoy to see each other.
Chef David is amazing. Anyone who can put on that many dinners and have so much fun is my new hero. Whether you're at home or on vacation, have a little fun at dinner time, because remember, dinner is the most important part of the day. See you at dinner.